Idology is having a fashion moment. We're discussing clothes with Devin Velez. Someone just told us we're rolling, so we need to really jump into it.
Cool.
Fair or unfair, this has been called the season of the ladies from almost day one.
The girls definitely have the edge. I think it's a girls' season to lose.
My goal actually when I auditioned for The Idol was not to actually win. You know, it was just to make top 10. And so I know it's crazy and I should have been like, oh, I'm gonna win this, but I think there's a lot of responsibility in winning, and I don't know if I was ready for that just yet. So hearing that a girl was gonna win, it kind of made it easier for me because I was just like, oh, well, then I'm gonna see how far I can go until the girl wins.
You didn't know a lot of the time you were gonna be limited to a list of like 15 or 20
I really
songs.
didn't. I was practicing stuff from like, you know, just anywhere between country, and I did practice Motown, but I thought I was gonna do like all these other songs, and then be on the show and they give you a certain song list, it's just like,
So the first real glimpse we got of you this season was in Hollywood Week. Tiny snippet of Payphone, which I would have liked to see more of.
I would still be holding you like this.
Because it would have given us a chance to see you do something current, which we did not see a lot of this
Right.
season. And then What a Wonderful World, which I think was a pretty good intro for someone who didn't get much screen time early on. It was like, okay, oh, who's this kid?
I see them bloom for me and for you.
when they showed Payphone, I was proud of that because I like Payphone, and I didn't think about it until you said it. That was probably the most current thing that I've done. And then after that, I did One Wonderful World, and I loved when they showed that because I felt really good about that performance.
What a wonderful world.
I wish they would have shown Somos Novios earlier, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't.
The highlight for Hollywood Week so far has been the a cappella solo round. I sang Somos Novios by Andrea Bocelli.
Because then I was able to do it when I did, and then it was like this grand thing.
You did Beyonce's Listen for the top 40 round. That seems like a dangerous song to sing. Did you approach it initially? Were you thinking like, do I want to go there? Because that's such a big, gigantic vocal.
All 'cause you won't listen.
Looking back at the performance, there were some notes that I didn't hit the way that I wanted to. But it is a very big song. It's a huge song. And people like Beyonce, they have huge voices. And there's very few songs that people can sing and nail by Beyonce. When I heard that one, I loved the words of the song because it was saying, you know, I'm gonna go find my own voice and I'm gonna do this with the voice that you think you gave to me, but really it's not your guys' decision, it's what I'm doing with my life.
I followed the voice you think you gave to me.
I found out that Beyonce did that song in Spanish too. And when I heard that, I was like, Mom, it's genius. Like, if we cut it in half, this is gonna be magical. I think that I chose the spot to change from English to Spanish just right, because usually in the English version it was, and oh, now I'm done believing you. And then in Spanish it's, and hoy, buscaré mi propia luz. And so it's like, it almost sounded the same, and then bam, I started going into it, and people, oh man, when I started it, they loved it, and I had such a great time with that one.
You should have known it, hoy, buscaré mi propia luz.
The highlight of your season was a Perry Como cover.
It's just impossible.
I knew it was from Perry Como, but I heard Andrea Bocelli's version.
Okay.
And he sang it with Catherine McPhee, some of my favorite singers. And when I heard it, I was like, oh man, that is such a nice song, and I've always had it in my phone. And finally on the show, I was just like, Mom, I think I should do this song. Like, I think it'd be really cool. It's a nice slow ballad. I feel like I can have some moments. And I didn't think that my version was gonna be this much of a hit.
Somos novios, mantenemos un cariño.
I love that my Spanish took people by surprise, but later down the road, I did stop the Spanish just because I didn't want to become a cliche.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show people that I can do more than just Spanish. In the albums to come, I'm definitely gonna be singing Spanish more.
You got an interesting critique from Keith Urban during Beatles Week where he said,
Your laid backness can almost creep into a place of not connecting with me.
sometimes you're hitting certain notes and I felt like you just looked too relaxed or you didn't look into it at certain points.
That performance in particular was, I had a really rough day that day. I had gotten into an argument with someone very dear to me, and you know, it brought down my mood. And so because of that, and it was right before I had to go on stage to perform, you know, my mood was shot. As a performer, it's really hard to give the audience fake, and I don't want to give the audience fake, but at the same time, I felt like I couldn't smile and give my complete passion at that moment just because it really was not all there.
I heard through the grapevine, not to reference a Candace Glover performance, but I heard through the grapevine that the song choice list that week was not the Lennon-McCartney songbook, but it was really a short list.
It was an extremely short list, and without pointing names out or even song titles, there were a couple of songs that were performed that night that weren't cleared on the list, and later on they got cleared.
I'm always intrigued because you guys get hammered sometimes on song choice, and I always want to
Yeah.
just be like, someone should let everyone know that
Yeah.
you don't have 1,000 songs to choose from.
Right, no. It's not as grand as everyone thinks it is.
Let's say you ran Idol. What theme weeks, what songs, were there songs that you would have died to sing on Idol that you didn't get a chance to?
I was hoping to have like a Justin Bieber week. I think that would be so interesting to have people like Candace Glover and Corey Harrison doing a Justin Bieber song. That's gonna be super awesome to see their spin on it. Pink week. People that are very big now, that would force you to go out of your comfort zone,
Pink
just like
Week would be
Motown.
amazing.
Pink week would be awesome. I'm like, what?
America, Nigel Lithgow, Ken, anybody? Pink Week, anybody?
You know? Like,
Anybody?
Oh God, I would have done perfect like in a heartbeat. And I play guitar, I would have done that song on guitar, like
You what?
it would have been a rap. That would
Why
have been
did
a rap.
okay? Because there's your Twitter picture is you at the piano. Now you're talking about playing guitar. Where were these skills?
I did want to show the guitar and the piano soon, but not, I don't know. It's just, Angie played piano, I didn't want to compete with Angie. Janelle played guitar, I didn't want to compete with Janelle. It's just like, I'll just sing.
Your final week on the show got a little controversial after Tracks of My Tears, but let's talk about that performance. I was talking to you before we started filming, and I said you kind of reminded me of a ye old timey waiter on a food car on a train. It seemed like fashion was something that you actually really thought about.
Definitely. I mean, with all of my outfits, I had a huge say-so in what I was going to wear, but I always wanted to make it had to fit the mood that I was doing. And if not, then it had to be something that was drawing and yet still on edge, because I like that whole edgy thing.
And were you aware Adam Lambert had covered that song in
was.
his season, and were you like, I don't want to do anything similar to...
Nothing at all. What's sad is that people still compare, I mean, they're always going to compare you to somebody that's done it on the previous shows, but what people don't know is that on Twitter, Adam Lambert direct messaged me, and he actually congratulated me and said he really liked my cover. And so I was just like, oh man, it's so cool. And I did look at his cover, and I didn't want to do any of his runs, and I didn't want to do any of his arrangements just because I'm not trying to be Adam Lambert, I'm trying to be Devin Velez, you know?
Shall we talk about Mortal Kombat, the trio?
I don't know what that was, but I'm gonna act like I ain't even see it or hear it.
Did you go into that performance thinking, I better know every line of this because I'm not sure that all the lines will be sung and I might have to jump in? Or did that happen rather spontaneously?
Can we be honest?
Yeah,
Yes.
you did.
A couple of comments were made before we went on, and people were just like, hey, if I don't remember my lines, sing them for me. You don't know what people are going to remember and what people aren't. And so you don't want to just sing everything because then it's going to look like you're overlapping. You had to wait maybe half a second and then like sort of just swoon in.
It was
but
strange.
It was difficult. I mean, I stood up there with a group, and I go to military school, so I know about how we do things in a group, and when one person messes up, we all fail, and we all have to drop our push-ups. I'm not gonna say I love it, but I like that I know what that's like.
Right.
And so being up there, it's really hard to feel sympathy, but it's also hard to feel heartless.
It's tough because Ryan Seacrest asks you like, what went down here? And you were like,
I learned my parts. I tried saving a couple people, but
and Burnell was like, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. But the next day, I thought you guys got more negative feedback
Oh, yeah.
in the social media sphere than the person who messed up their lyrics. And as an obsessive person who watches Idol, I always feel like if you forgot your lyrics, that's the worst crime. Do you
Right.
wish that you just said nothing and walked off stage, maybe left when Nikki told you to leave the stage? Or
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think that I say everything, and I make decisions for a reason, and I stand firm, and I stand by those.
I felt like this was back in Hollywood week.
Yeah, it was difficult to hear that from Nikki, but the way my mother raised me was when people are talking about you and it's not really about you because it's not who you are or what you've done, you shouldn't take it to offense. With all due respect, I wasn't off pitch, nor did I forget my lyrics, so I didn't take it to offense. I do think she went a little drastic when she said,
All three y'all go. Get off the stage.
but Nikki is Nikki and we love her for who she is. But no, I don't regret what I said, just because the truth hurts sometimes, but the truth is the truth, and I knew my parts.
So you said Nikki is who she is and we love her. Sorry. I'm sure you've been asked this by everybody, but you had a little Twitter feud with her after your post-elimination conference call, and she was basically saying, like, whatever opportunities you get, suck it up, be grateful. You had some responses on Twitter.
I had some responses and I took them down, not because I was afraid, but because As much as they weren't out of line, for me, I know my personal boundaries, and I think they were out of line for me because it's not my character to do so. I think it was a petty argument. I think I should have just let whatever happened happen and move on with life because, like we've been talking, Nikki is Nikki, and she has a very loud opinion.
Right.
I love Nikki. I think she was a great addition to the show. She was definitely something new. But yeah, as for the Twitter thing, there were some comments made about, like, oh, you're just ungrateful. You should just be grateful. If I didn't put Curtis through, then I'm not putting anybody through. You didn't make it through because America didn't vote for you. All of it's true. Like the whole comment about Curtis, that's how she feels. Awesome. Curtis is still my closest friend. I think Curtis can outsing a lot of people on this planet. I sent out a few tweets and I took them down, but in the end, her Barbies, they went crazy and they were blowing up my Twitter. And
It's a tough crowd.
oh yeah, and there's some
there's a
characters,
lot
I'll
of
tell
them.
you. I was just reminding myself, like, Devin, you don't know any of these people. But even more, they don't know you. If anything, Nikki, as much as she knows me, she doesn't know me.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna meet these Barbies. I'm never gonna see them. And I'm the one that made it to top 8, not them. I don't need to worry about them. They're not part of my career. By today, there's barely stuff happening. Like, you'll get maybe one every 3 hours, like some Barbies like, why are you still on TV and blah, blah, blah? Why are you still watching me is the question. If you don't care for me, get off of my Twitter page. Turn off the TV.
In 3 years, that person is still going to tweet you.
Oh, I'm sure. But in 3 years, I'm gonna be on tour in Australia. I'm okay.
It certainly made things interesting.
Oh, definitely.
It makes things interesting to have a judge who's willing to get into a scrap with you on Twitter.
Oh, no, that's the thing. America and everyone loves this kind of entertainment. When
Yeah.
a 30-year-old is arguing with an 18-year-old, it's just like, what? Yes. It makes so much sense.
Hi, I'm Adam Pally.
And I'm Gillian Jacobs.
And subscribe to ENTV
For all your entertainment news first.